Ball tails away and second. Off-speed pitch grounded down the line. Scooped up by Lujan. He throws. Makes the play. Fires over to first. And they're able to get him when he strike him out, throw him out. 2 downs.
10 seconds out left. Yet.
What a move. Mariano on the inside for Terranova. This one's going to be tight. Wong going to try to touch it at the wire, and I believe she got it. There's Gibbs for 3. Beats the shot. Wong. Oh, Jeremy.
Hata in motion, and he's blocking for Jeffrey. Jeffrey gets past the line of scrimmage, and now he's got room to go. Now he's doing good.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this MCTV Sports high school production of football on Friday night under the lights. It's the rivalry game, the 60th annual Battle of the Strip, the Capuchino Mustangs and the Mills Vikings. Hello, everyone. I'm Kenny Milch alongside my broadcast partner, Brian Powers. And Brian, even though Cap is heavily favored in this one, in these rivalry games, it's out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you get two teams that are in the same town, Battle of the Strip, they've grown up against each other, records doesn't matter. They're going to go out there and play for bragging rights.
Now, Mills started out their season really well, but then when they got to the Lake Division, they kind of hit a little speed bump.
They did. And you know what? Key injuries to skill position players really affected them. But at the same time, even though they're 0-4, they've lost their last 2 games by 1 touchdown. So they're a good team. 0-4 doesn't really reflect the fact that they're a solid team that can go out there and win.
Mills' last championship was back in 2006. Capuchino won their last title in 2012, and over the course of this season, once they got to the lake, the Mustangs have gotten much stronger.
They have. They've been averaging 43 points a game since they've come to the Lake Division. They've been putting up big numbers, big offense, and the defense has been playing great. So it looks like they made the right move to come down, and then it really paid off for the program.
And with a win tonight, they can clinch the outright championship in the Lake Division. We'll have some more news and notes plus the kickoff coming up next. Very well done by the combined bands of Capuchino and Mills. It's rivalry night here on Carl Reyna Field. There's a championship on the line, and when you talk about senior night for Capuchino, how special is that for these guys who have put in 4 years of hard work in the program?
It's crazy because 4 years all of a sudden comes to an end. This is the last time they'll put the football uniform on, play under the Friday night lights, and be in front of their friends and family out here. So it's an emotional night for both teams because it could be the last time they dress up here.
Checking the Lake Division standings, again, Capuchino unbeaten at 4-0, Jefferson at 4-1, San Mateo 3-2, Carlmont 2-3, El Camino 1-4, and Mills in 6th at 0-4. Tonight, More rivalry games. Kings Academy is at Jefferson, also a 7 p.m. kickoff, but a non-league game. Sequoia at Carlmont, 7 p.m. kickoff, battle for the Terramare Trophy. Tomorrow, Burlingame at San Mateo, 11 a.m. kickoff in what they call the Little Big Game. 88 years, Brian.
Yeah, they've been doing this for a long time, and that's why they play it on a Saturday, because it's not just people in San Mateo and Burlingame going, people from Pacifica down to San Jose go and check that game out. It's a fun one to go watch.
The Battle of the Strip between Mills and Cap. This is the 60th meeting. 60 years, not too shabby either. And the head-to-head matchup winning record goes to Capuchino. They've won 45 games to Mills 14. And interesting, Brian, in 59 games, there's never been a tie in this game.
Tonight could be the first one. You never know what can happen.
Last year, Capuchino won over at Mills and Millbrae 18. 2 years ago, Mills won 35-7, so they've each traded victories the last couple years. And we're getting set for the kickoff here in San Bruno. Capuchino in their green with their gold trim. Mills in their white with the scarlet, red, and gold trim. And here is the kickoff. Mills receiving, moving right to left. Kickoff is taken near the 15-yard line and room up the middle. Breaking free down the right sideline and just caught from behind. Trying to catch a number on that. It's a little foggy out there. That was Joseph Issa, the senior running back, and boy, what a return. Started at the 13-yard line, and he broke right free up the middle.
Yeah, great play. You know, field position's always such a big deal in high school football. You start the game off and you get a big play, you gain almost 70 yards, and then all of a sudden there's a holding penalty and it brings them back. So, you know, field position, like I said, is going to be a big factor when it comes to games like this because you can break one at any point.
The holding penalty took place near the Cap 45-yard line. So after the mark-off, still good field position for the Vikings. They'll start out at their own 43-yard line. Not too foggy. I think it's my binoculars. At quarterback for Mills is Sean McAuliffe, the senior. Split backs. And there's a handoff over the right side. It's David Tongalava, their star junior running back, and he may have got back to the line of scrimmage, but not much more. So that'll bring up 2nd and 10. "24 players on Mills' roster, 25 on Cap, 9 seniors for the Vikings, and 13 seniors for the Mustangs."
Yeah, with that low number of players, you're going to be seeing a lot of guys going both ways and playing special teams.
I formation, McAuliffe under center. We got movement, and it's going to be a false start penalty against the Vikings, their 2nd penalty already. The Vikes are head coached by Mike Krieger in his 4th year. Capuchino, head coached by Ben White in just his 2nd year. Assistant coaches for Mills, Barrett Krieger, Tavita Halaholo, Dan Karnak, and Tom Flowers. Assistant coaches for Cap, Marcus Farhad, Miguel Nava, Sean Oxley, and Joey Matical. Gonna throw is McAuliffe. Steps up and spins off a tackler. Nice move, but there are many Mustang defenders back there, and that's going to be another loss.
Yeah, so you can see now with that penalty on the kickoff, it really puts them in a tough bind. Rather than being down at the 25-yard line looking good for a scoring position, it pushes them back and now puts them in a 3rd and long, so most likely a throwing situation.
Coach Krieger in 4 years has a career overall record of 17, 21, and 1. In the Lake Division, he is 4 and 15. In Battle of the Strip contest, this will be his 4th. He's 1 and 2. Coach White has just played in one of these. He's 1 and 0. Slightly offset I formation for McAuliffe. Capuchino showing blitz. This Tonga Lava, he's got a lot of room, and he breaks it to the outside, and he's going to pick up a very big chunk of that 17 yards needed, but he's going to be just about 2 or 3 yards shy of the first down marker. If you're Coach Krieger in this situation, you might think about going for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those tweener spots where you can go for it. It's a couple yards. I think early in the game in this situation, you punt it away, don't take any risks. But definitely as the game goes on, that's something you need to look forward to.
Especially you got nothing to lose. Mills, you know, we talked to Coach Krieger. He's going. Why not?
Might as well.
No receiver back for Capuchino. Interesting. They're bringing the house. High, short punt. And it takes a mediocre bounce. No one's favor on that bounce. And it's down there by the big fella. E.C. Mappa, the big junior. So Capuchino will take over 1st and 10 at their own 29-yard line. Coach Krieger took over for Packy Moss, whose career record was 9-40-1 overall, 7-19-1 in PAL divisional play. At quarterback for Capuchino is Joe Gutierrez, and they'll run it over the left side on 1st down and pick up probably about 2 or 3. They'll bring up a 2nd and 7. Last year, Mills went 4-6 overall, went 0-5 in the Lake Division. So they are looking for their first win in 3 years, Brian.
Yeah, you know, they're competing and playing hard. You know, the record doesn't show how this team is. You know, with a young team, they're on their way up. I can definitely see this.
Nice tackle in the backfield by Mappa. The running back was Tessina Fafita. And Fafita is going to lose about 4 on the play. And it'll be a 3rd and about 12 from the 27. Nice penetration there by the Mills defensive line.
Yeah, like you said, they're playing for broke. They're going to go after it. They're going to blitz. Cap is a team that likes to run the ball, likes to do a lot of trickerations. So might as well just go after them, try and stop it before they get downfield.
Gutierrez under center. Gives it to the motion man. That's Abnan Grajeda, and Grajeda picks up big yardage, nice chunk. He really ducked that one outside. He saw nothing really in the interior and made a nice move to pick up some positive yardage.
Exactly. Grajeda's the guy that does the fly motions, the sweep, the outside. He's the lightning to the thunder, and their thunder is Take Moore, who's more of the power runner downhill. So look for Grenada to get outside and do more of the outside movements. And
it's been Damian Jacobs most of the season, but he has been hurt as of late, and I haven't seen him on the field yet. Here's a hand up the middle, breaking free and heading towards the end zone. Capuchino, Tariq Moore, the man you just mentioned, and he goes 61 yards, and the Mustangs strike payday first.
Thunder right down the middle. He's the guy that can get there, make it happen, and break tackles.
So Moore goes 61 yards at the 7:27 mark of the first quarter, and it's quickly 6-0 Cap. On to kick the extra point, Miguel Sandoval, and it's good, 7-0. Didn't take Cap too long for their first score offensively. And we'd like to give the Chamber of Commerce big thanks for sponsoring MCTV's coverage of this PAL football game from the Lake Division. The Chamber of Commerce is a non-profit association that promotes and supports the growth of business in Millbrae. The Chamber also provides information about great places to dine, shop, and stay when you're in Millbrae. If you'd like to join, contact millbrae.com or call 697-7324 for more information. Thanks again to the Millbrae Chamber of Commerce. The referee tonight is Brian Mickelson, the umpire Roberto Lopez, head linesman Steve Ruiz, line judge Craig Gruber, and the back judge Dan Klausner. I'm Kenny Milch along with Brian Powers and our entire MCTV crew, led by our fine producer and director and general manager of MCTV, Mr. Andy Pittman. And thanks to all the volunteers here to put this game on. It's the 60th time these two have met. They're just about 1.5 miles away from each other. They all know each other. And this kickoff is taken by one of the upbacks, and that's Paul Gomez. And you heard it from the crowd, a big hit there.
Yeah, Gomez got the ball, went straight upfield, didn't let it get to the back line to give up that yardage, laid a nice little hit and got the team excited. That's what they need right now.
Good field position again for the Vikings. They'll start out at their own 40-yard line. Coach Krieger's been around. You know, before Mills, he was the head coach of the Frost Soft team at Half Moon Bay. Previous 2 years, been coaching high school football since 1990 at Half Moon Bay, Lowell, Lincoln, and Mills. And here on first down, a handoff over the right side by Andrew Killigrew, and he's able to pick up nice yardage, about 7. That'll bring up a 2nd and 3.
Yeah, Killigrew is their version of Moore. He's a big kid, hard to bring down. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run up the middle. He's the guy that I feel they need to ride tonight in order to get this win.
2nd and 3. Handoff this time. It's Joseph Issa. And Issa is up near the marker, but he may be about 1.5 yards shy. They tried the right side. And now the head linesman scoots over a little bit, and he's going to be about 3 yards shy. 3rd and 3. Krieger, baseball, basketball, and soccer at Half Moon Bay. Went to UC Berkeley. He played baseball and was on the rugby team. That looks like a scrum right there in the middle on the handoff, Brian.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to come up just a hair short. Very similar situation as the last time when they were in the 4th down. Looks like they're going to go for it, which I think is a smart move. Keep the momentum going. You're at midfield. Try to make them go.
Coach Krieger lives on the coast side with his wife and 2 daughters. Enjoys playing volleyball, softball, and street hockey. Hobbies include racquetball and skiing. Well-rounded individual.
What doesn't he do?
Yeah. McAuliffe looking, throws, incomplete. Pass was broken up by Amataga. And that was a pretty good-looking throw. It just slipped off the fingertips there.
Yeah, right play call. They weren't trying to go deep. They went for the receiver under. You know, just happened, slipped out of his hands, but it is costful because now they have about 48 yards to go for a touchdown.
So they went for it on 4th and 1. They didn't get it, and so the Mustangs will take over with great field position. At their own 49, toss sweep to the outside, and this time it's Damian Jacobs. So their star running back says, you know what, I'm not missing this game, hurt or not, I'm playing.
Yeah, he was hurt last week, got hurt pretty early on in the game, didn't come back in. You know, he's the guy that they ride on. They have several running backs, several players that can get it done. So it's not a one-prong attack. You got more Grenada and also Jacobs, and you just never know what they're going to do.
This past October 23rd, Jacobs rushed for 5 touchdowns, 270 yards, and a 41-0 shutout win for Cap over San Mateo. One of many big games for Jacobs. Here he is again, tries the left side, spins off a would-be tackler, breaks another one, and you can see why he is so good, because you can't take him down with one arm or any type of ankle tackles. You got to wrap up.
Yeah, when he hits the hole, his feet keep moving. That's the key for a running back. The second they go still, they go down. With him, he hits the pile and just keeps the feet moving and keeps the pile going. Those extra 2 or 3 yards is the difference between a first down and having to punt.
2 weeks ago, Jacobs rushed for, get this, Brian, 397 yards, 4 touchdowns in Cap's big first-place win over Jefferson. 49-44 was the final. comment on this in a little bit. Is 397 yards possible?
That's pretty unheard of.
There's Jacobs again.
Maybe that's why they're averaging 43 points a game.
There you go. He's up to the 30-yard line. He's easily got the first down. And, you know, Jacobs likes to give a lot of credit to the line. He gets most of the glory, but doing the dirty work is the lineman, as you well know.
Yeah, I mean, at any level of football you see, you know, the best running backs usually have the best lines. You know, those are the guys that are creating the holes, that are getting the space for him to do the work. So, you know, that's good that he's giving them the credit. He knows where it's coming from.
Capuchino is known as running back U. I mentioned Justin Ewing in the past. Gonna throw. Gutierrez has a man, leaps, and just can't hold on. But a nice thrown ball, and it was pretty well defended by the Mills defensive back. I believe that was Christian Rojas. Actually, he wears number 9. I don't have a 9 on my roster here. Look on my secondary roster here, and there's no 9 on my secondary one. Anyways, a nice play by that young man. And it's 2nd and 10 for Cap. Gutierrez under center. Has Jacobs in the tailback spot. I formation, they give it to Jacobs. He busts through an open hole, sheds a tackler. He's headed for the zone. He is in. Touchdown, Cap. Damian Jacobs from 30 yards out, and it's 13-0 Capuchino.
He hit the hole, broke that first tackle, kept the feet going, and made it all the way to the end zone. He has great vision, and once he gets hit, he's not stopping. He's trying to find that next level.
This one comes at the 3:28 mark. And you can see Capuchino very explosive in that running game. They just have done it over the years. I mean, you know, 2012, the year of Justin Ewing, running back for Capuchino, as the extra point is good. You know, Ewing was born with a hearing impediment, and he didn't let that affect his football talent. He became the CCS all-time leading career rusher with, get this, Brian, 2,956 yards, breaking the previous mark set by Burlingame's Onan Reyes back in 1998. His mark was 2,798 yards, so he kind of shattered it by a couple hundred.
That's almost 300 yards of rushing a game for high school football. So I didn't get a chance to see him play, but watching Jacobs play is pretty darn exciting, and for him to be putting up these numbers, you know, that's a huge thing for Cap to be able to get these kids and see that they have the ability to do that here.
Ewing also set 2 other CCS records in 2012. The first one, most yards in a game, 494 rushing yards against Gunn on 44 carries, and most carries in a season with 396.
That's a lot of work for a high school running back. But you know what? When something's working, no, don't break it.
Kickoff, 3:28 left to go here in the first quarter on MCTV Sports, and the kickoff, that's a live ball. That pigskin's bouncing all over the place, Brian. Who's got it? And Capuchino's got it. First turnover of the game, and the Mustangs are back in business inside their own 30.
Yeah, ball control is so important, especially on squib kicks. You got to make sure you control something like that where you just gave up 2 quick touchdowns and now another turnover. That's not good, but this gives Mills a chance here to make a big stop, get back in the game, and get the ball back on the offensive side.
Last week, Joe Gutierrez, the quarterback, threw for 4 touchdowns in the Mustangs' 40-6 win over Carlmont, which clinched at least a share of the Lake Division Championship. They can win it outright tonight. Jacobs in the backfield. Gutierrez going to throw, has a man, but it's intercepted. Coming back is McAuliffe, the quarterback, and he returns it to the Mills 45-yard line, so 1 turnover deserves another.
That's huge for Mills. They needed that. If they were to go in and get another score, it would have been a long ride to get back in it. But with that turnover, now they get the ball back on offense. They're in good field. They got a chance to put some points up.
We'll be trying to give you updates throughout the night. I've got a couple scores already coming in. Half Moon Bay leads Terra Nova 6-0 in the first quarter. and Hillsdale leads Aragon 7-0 in the first quarter.
That's a big game over there. Hillsdale hasn't beaten Aragon up until last year since about 40 years. So.
And we'll touch on these rivalry games more throughout the contest. But right now the Vikings trying to get back in this one. Shotgun McAuliffe, and he hands off inside. That's Tonga Lava, and he's able to get towards the midfield mark. And interesting, Capuchino decided to paint their 50-yard marker in gold a la the NFL in its 50th year.
There you go. I mean, this is the 60th year, so I guess it's 10 years past the gold anniversary, but it's a nice little gesture.
Field looks good. This is a natural grass, one of the few remaining. You know, a lot of these schools are going to turf, but I kind of like the grass.
Yeah, I like it's green. With how the weather's been out here, I like to see some green grass.
2nd and 7 at midfield. The Vikings moving right to left in white with the ball. McAuliffe, handoff, new running back. It's Jerry Ibanez, the senior, and he picks up about 2 or 3. It's going to bring up 3rd and maybe 4. Or just about 3. Ibanez is no slouch at the tailback spot himself. In fact, in Mills' win over Gunn, they won that game 34-7. Ibanez was at quarterback. He ran for a TD in that game. Movement along the line. 3rd penalty for Mills of the first half. Also in that win over Gunn, Tonga Lava rushed for 2 touchdowns. Domenico Levine blocked a punt. Ryan Beglitzoff caught a TD pass, and Andrew Killigrew added a 20-yard scoring run in the second half.
Yeah, Mills is a better team than what their record's showing. I mean, you just see the scores that they've put up, the games that they've been in. They haven't been blown out, so they've been competing. It's just about putting it all together at the right time.
They beat Galileo 34-12. Here's McAuliffe going to throw, looking deep, has a speedster down the sideline. Incomplete. That pass was intended. Antonio Gramenza. Just heard the public address announcer. Number 9, we didn't have that, so he made that good defensive. Boy, he's got a little speed down the sideline there.
Yeah, he had the receiver beat. You know, if the ball's put on the right place, he's jogging into the end zone, just a little out of his reach.
So now all of a sudden it's 4th and 9, so Mills is going to punt once again. Punter is Killigrew. This time Cap sends a receiver back, and it's Fafita. Long snap count. Killigrew's punt is a good one. Fafita takes it from and fumbles it. Loose ball, and Mills may have it. And they do. Initially, it went into the hands of the Mills special teamer, but he couldn't hold on to it. But then he was able to scoop it up, or fall on it, if you will, on the second attempt. And recovering it was Isi Mappa, the junior lineman. And Mills looked like they were going to punt it away again. Now they got 1st and 10 from about the 17-yard line, Brian.
Yeah, this has been a pretty good drive. You get an interception, get to the 50, you get a punt, and get it muffed, you get down to the 25. You know, the offense hasn't been able to move the ball, but when you create things on special teams and on defense, you can put yourself in a pretty good situation.
And the Vikes are certainly in one here. I formate, fumbled snap. McAuliffe picks it up, going to try to make something out of a nothing broken play, and he's tackled by a trio of Mustangs at about the 27-yard line. Check that, the 17. So it's going to go for about no gain, but that could have been a disaster.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want to do is after you get a turnover down, you know, pretty much in the red zone, is turn the ball right back over to Cap. You know, this is a chance for them to get a touchdown or get some points on the board, even with the field goal, and get that enthusiasm built back up.
14-0, Half Moon Bay now leads Terra Nova. 58 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. In San Bruno, handoff, good speed over the left side by the big fella. One of the down lineman lined up in an eligible spot, and he's in for the touchdown. Samani Stanley, the junior lineman, lined it up kind of in a flanker spot, Brian?
Yeah, he looked like he was in the H-back position, so he was lined up almost as like a tight end behind the guard. Normally that's built for the blocking position, but they gave it around. It caught me off guard, too. I saw 59. I didn't know what was going on.
So it goes in the books as a 17-yard TD run by Stanley with 47 seconds left to go in the first quarter, and the extra point is good by McAuliffe. So how do you do?
Whatever you got to do to get on the board. Now Mills is back in this game, 14-7. First quarter's almost over. You know, this is a good team. They find a way to make things happen.
We'd also like to say thank you to the City of Millbrae for providing generous support for programs like this one. The City of Millbrae has a long-standing tradition of supporting public access programming on MCTV, and we look forward to a great continued partnership. If you'd like to find out more about the City of Millbrae, check out the city website at ci.millbrae.ca.us. Thanks again to Millbrae, a place in the sun. Samani Stanley from the H-back spot.
Yeah.
What a play call by Coach Krieger.
Hey, he says he's going for the win, so you got to pull anything out. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw an onside kick or something tricky here. Why not? Go for the win. It's a rivalry game.
Nice crowd on both sides tonight. This is high school football at its best. No onside kick, but kind of a little blooper over the right side, and they're going to let it bounce out of bounds, so the flag comes out. Not a deep kick, not an onside, but something kind of in between.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to kick it to some of the returners that Capuchino has. With the running backs they got and the athletes, you know, get it to the back line, the midline guys, fair catch, out in front. Don't give them a chance to break it deep. That's what they're thinking.
Great coaching philosophy by Coach Krieger. We talked about that great play call. We talked to him, and he said, quote, coaching high school football is the next best thing to playing. He said, quote, I coach because it is important to impart what I know about the game to those interested in playing the game. He went on to say, quote, I want to make a difference for my players, end quote. Not bad. He's giving back. He wants to do it for the kids,
Yeah,
Brian.
you can't explain that any better.
Handoff, that's Jacobs again. He's upended by McAuliffe. He's going to pick up about 7. 2nd and 3. Coach White, now in his 2nd year with the Mustangs, a career record of 11-8 with Cap, 8-1 in PAL Lake Division play. So he has thrived early on in his stint, although it not too long, but with Capuchino, he's getting things done. Hand off to the fullback. He's trying to wrestle through the Vikings line. He's not going to gain too much, maybe a couple, but he's going to be a little short of the first down marker.
Yeah, and to go back to your point about Coach White, even though it's only his 2nd season here at Capuchino, you know, he has a ton of coaching experience. His father was a longtime coach at Galileo High School. He ended up coaching at Galileo High School and also Carlmont. You know, he's been around for a long time, very familiar with the peninsula and the type of teams that we have here.
A little more on Coach White in a bit, but the first quarter horn has sounded, and we've got 21 points that have been scored, 14 for Cap, 7 for Mills. We've got an exciting game in what looked like it could have gotten out of hand early, but Mills has kind of righted the ship, even though they have an injured player currently down on the field. Try to catch a number on him. Looks like just a cramp, so hopefully that young man will be okay. Jefferson leads Kings Academy 7-0 in the first quarter on a halfback pass that went 80 yards for a touchdown for Jefferson. Let's touch on Coach White a little bit more. He, like you said, previously coached at South City and Carlmont. Most recently, Coach White head coach Exeter High School in the Central Valley for 9 seasons. He led the Monarchs to 8 postseason appearances while becoming Exeter's all-time winningest coach, compiling a 63-42 record. He won 2 league championships after never having won a championship at either South City or Carlmont.
Yeah, he's a long history here in the Bay Area, on the peninsula. You know, I've personally known him for about 10 years. He knows the game, and he can relay it great to high school kids, which is just half the battle.
And didn't he coach you at one point?
Yeah, he was actually my flag football coach when I was 12 years old. He was the first person that taught me how to throw a football.
Wow, and you went on to have a nice career at Terra Nova. Here's a handoff on first down. That's Jacobs. He just plows through defenders. And they try to hit him. He still doesn't go down. And he's gone. Touchdown, Jacobs. 56 yards, his second score of the night.
This guy's got big playability from anywhere on the field. It's not just from the inside or the out. You give him the ball, he's going to make things happen.
Just 12 seconds into the second quarter. And when we read you the statistics, you think, how is that possible? When I say he scored 5 touchdowns, rushed for 297 yards, well, you're seeing it right before your very eyes.
It's really easy to understand now when you watch these games.
Here's the extra point for Capuchino, and it's kicked through the uprights by Sandoval, and it's 21-7.
Yeah, when you get a 61 and a 56, it takes those big chunks out really quick to get to those 300 yards.
Coach White was at South City from 1994 to 2001 for 8 years, and was at Carlmont from 02 to 04 for 3 years, went 16-14 with the Scots. Coach White, interestingly, now has been in 3 PAL rivalry matchups. South City, El Camino, which of course is the bell game, Carlmont and Sequoia, and now Mills and Cap.
Yeah, so he knows what it's about out here. You know, people get excited, especially for the rivalry games. They're so close. A lot of us grow up together. We go to middle school together, and then high school comes, we split apart. So he knows how important Friday nights here are in the beginning of November. And
he's the son of the legendary coach from Galileo, George White, whom the field at Galileo is named after in the city.
It's a nice field, too.
Yeah, where O.J. Simpson once ran, right? Oh, we got I don't know if it was an onside kick intentionally, but it was effective, and Capuchino almost recovered it. Interesting. I think either he missed it or he intentionally kicked it off the side of his foot?
Yeah, well, if it was an onside kick, it was an amazing onside kick. If it was a miss kick, it was one heck of a miss kick. But, I'd have to see the play again. But the way it looks like that possibly could have been an onside kick. The way that shot off his foot and the way it took a spin, it looked like that's something that might have been, a possibility. And why not? You just get a big play. Why not try to get the ball back?
Great field position for Mills, but the yardsticks are in the wrong spot. And no one's noticed it yet except us. Handoff for Mills. Now they're moving the sticks on the handoff. A nice little gain, a pickup of about 5, and they're trying to get these chains properly marked. It's going to be 2nd and 5.
Maybe they thought Cap was going to get the ball back on the next play.
Right. Interesting. Second quarter. Cap leads here on MCTV Sports. I'm Kenny Milch along with Brian Powers. Thank you so much for watching, and we've got a nice little ball game tonight. Handoff over the left side. I believe that was Tongalava, and he's going to be close to the marker. He may be just about a half-yard shy. Bring up 3rd and 1. Whistle blows, and timeout Capuchino, their first timeout of the half. Earlier tonight in the JV game, it was Capuchino 49-0 over Mills for Cap's first win in the Lake Division. Speaking of Galileo, we mentioned earlier that Mills beat them 34-12 on September the 18th. Speaking of big games, Mills racked up 286 rushing yards, including a game-high 137 yards on 15 carries by Jerry Ibanez. Sean McAuliffe in the first quarter scored on a two-yard touchdown run. Ibanez scored later on runs of 14 and 4 yards to make it 21-12 going into halftime. Mills dominated the second half, tallying twice in the third to put the game away. Andrew Killigrew scored on a 1-yard run, and then Ibanez galloped for a 16-yard run. Like you said, early on they were getting things going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mills early in the season, they had 3 wins before coming into conference, and obviously even in conference they've been playing the game hard. It's not that they're not a good team, they just haven't been able to execute when it comes down to the end.
Pitch out to Issa. Issa still on his feet, takes a big hit on the sideline by Reynaz Obregon Halim. And it's going to be 4th down. A lot of running, didn't pick up a whole lot, and they're in that spot again. Where you go for it or what?
Yeah, 4th down and short in this situation, I would go for it. I'd love to see Killigrew get the ball right here. Big kid, short yard situation. Give him the ball.
Well, McAuliffe trots back onto the field after getting the call from Coach Krieger. And it looks like Mills is going to go for it. They tried it first time 4th and short. They punted it. Second time they tried it 4th and 1. Didn't get it, and here they go again.
Yep.
And it's a broken play, and they tried to give it once again to Stanley, but kind of a miscommunication. They kind of bumped into each other.
Yeah, it looks like the quarterback went one way, the running back went the other. So, that's not a good situation to have on 4th down. Now, Cap gets the ball back, going in with Damian Jacobs. It could be another long run right here.
And Stanley with that number 59, not your conventional skill position number, doesn't he have to check in with the officials each time, or they can discuss that before the game?
Yeah, that's something that's discussed before the game, but usually with a linebacker number in the 50s, that's not an eligible offensive lineman number, which is in the 90s, 70s and 90s.
Here's Jacobs. He runs into the line. This time they're able to wrap up and send him down. Christian Sale, the sophomore, credited with that tackle for no gain. One of the few times that you're going to hold Jacobs for nothing.
Yeah, you need to take advantage of that. 2nd and long, put him in a throwing situation. Get him to 3rd and long. Don't allow them to have the ball in space and have the ability to make it happen.
In Capuchino's 40-6 thrashing of Soquel on October the 3rd, Tariq Moore ran for 2 touchdowns, and Tessina Fafita also scored along with Grajeda and Jacobs. Gutierrez threw 2 second-half touchdowns. This is Jacobs again through a big hole. Can't tackle him low. He's still going. When you just try to hit him with your helmet and pads, he's not going down. You've got to go helmet, pads, and arms.
Yeah, exactly. You got to just find a way to wrap him up. And if you got to jump at his feet and try to tie his shoes or something to hold him down, you got to figure it out. Just hitting him high, he's going to bounce off that all day.
Also in that win over Soquel, senior linebacker Sam O'Grady led the team in tackles, had an interception along with Grajeda, who also had an INT. 1st and 10, Capuchino from the 30 of Mills.
Jerry is not even interested.
Handoff over the left tackle spot. That time the ball carrier was Tariq Moore, who's getting limited carries, but he's been making the most of them.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been getting big gains when he does get the ball. And when you see Jacobs getting the ball, you're thinking he's bouncing outside, going off tackle. When Moore gets it, he's going straight downhill. So it opens everything up when Jacobs is having the ball and kind of leaving the middle a little bit more open.
Picked up about 6 on that last run, did Moore, and now Jacobs is back in the backfield. He takes the handoff over right tackle, cuts it back middle, and is tripped up, but not before he picks up a 1st down, and that was Antonio Gramenza with the tackle. 8:55 left to go here until intermission, and Capuchino is now threatening in the red zone. In the Valpo Bowl, Menlo trails Sacred Heart Prep 7-0. Hillsdale is beating Aragon 7-3. 35-yard field goal, and it was Jacobs again on 1st and 10. May have picked up around 4. 2nd down.
Marvelous Cap, 75. Major Mechanic, 49. 2nd down, Mustangs. Ball on the Mills 11 yard.
60th meeting between the two. Cap has won 45, Mills 14, and as we mentioned earlier, no ties, which is rather strange in 60 matchups. 8 minutes left to go. Motion man. And he doesn't go very far. Once again, that was Grajeda. And it'll appear that it's going to be about 3rd and 8. A little difficult to tell over there. Ball is near the 10-yard line. Gutierrez going to throw. Pumps, throws towards the end zone. Has a man, but it's incomplete. Pass was intended for Phil McGoldrick and broken up by Gramenza, but Joe throws a nice ball.
He does, and McGoldrick, that's twice now they've gone to him up top. Obviously when they're in the 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations, he's the guy they feel he can go down the field with, and he can out-jump the DB. Now it's been twice that he's dropped the ball, but he's definitely somebody that they target in that type of situation.
Timeout, Mills, their first. Each team now with 2 timeouts remaining. Many thanks go to the Magnolia of Millbrae for sponsoring this event. The Magnolia of Millbrae is a welcoming place for seniors who want luxurious living conditions with a swimming pool, fine dining, and a gated covered parking garage. For more information, please contact themagnolia.com or call 697-7000, or you can even call toll-free 1-888-860-6915. The scores are coming in fast and furious. Aragon has now taken the lead 9-7 at the end of 1 quarter over Hillsdale on a Devin Grant 72-yard run on a double reverse, Brian.
I wish I saw that one. That's going to be a really good game. Hillsdale is an up-and-coming program. Peroti's done a great job over there since taking it over. Aragon's always been a power. They've kind of had a down year, but once again, it's a rivalry week. Those are games you can just throw the record out.
They call it the Battle of the Fleas. And this is the 54th meeting between Aragon and Hillsdale. More movement along the line. This one might be against Capuchino. They've been penalty-free so far in the first half, but that yellow flag is charged against the Mustangs. A lot of great Peninsula rivalries. We talked about the Little Big Game. That is the 88th meeting. Burlingame San Mateo. The Panthers lead that oldest series, which began in 1927. Burlingame has won 51, San Mateo 32, and they have had 4 ties. Fourth down and 12 from the 15, and Capuchino is going to go for it. Jacobs, I formation. They give it to Jacobs, and it's a fumble. A broken play, a mishandled exchange, and the Vikings come up with the recovery, their 2nd turnover of the night.
Yeah, for Cap, they were in that kind of tweener position too. Is it too far for a field goal? Are we close enough to make an opportunity for it? And that's a tough situation for a turnover. I mean, if you don't get it, they're going to get the ball anyways, but you want to give your guy a chance. You want to give 26 the ball to see what he can do. But that's a great job with Mills for holding them and not separating this game even farther.
In the Valpo Bowl, Sacred Heart Prep leads Menlo 7-0. The Valpo Bowl between Prep and Menlo, right down actually next door neighbors. This is the 13th meeting. That one's dead even, 6-6. That rivalry started in 2003.
Yeah, they're literally right next to each other. if somebody's barbecuing at the other football field, they can see the smoke.
South City and El Camino, of course, they play tomorrow at 2 in the Bell game. It'll be their 54th meeting. The Warriors of South City lead that series 43-9 with 1 tie. 7:05 left to go in the second quarter, and the officials are still trying to sort things out and get the chain gang set up, but all of a sudden Mills is going to have it near their own 35-yard line. Quick handoff up the middle. Looked like it was Ibanez, and he's going to pick up nice yardage, maybe 5 or 6, and it'll bring up second down. Terra Nova Half Moon Bay, the Skull game, Battle for the Bones. This is the 52nd meeting. It began in 1964. Tigers lead that series 31-15 with 5 ties. Handoff over the left side. And Mills is going to be just about a yard shy, and some flags fly out after the play is dead. And getting back to that Skull game, you have a little interest in that one, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, being a Terra Nova alum, I'd love to see Terra Nova continue the tradition and bring the Skull back to Terra Nova. We actually lost last year on a last-second play, and, you know, Terra Nova's having a down year. They lost Anthony Gordon, who was an all-everything quarterback, and Jordan Janata, who was an all-everything receiver. But Half Moon Bay's having a great year in the Bay Division. So it doesn't surprise me that, you know, this rivalry is going to take kind of a new level, especially if Half Moon Bay can win 2 years in a row. I'd have to look at the record books. I can't remember the last time that happened.
Penalty went against Capuchino, so despite Mills not gaining much offensively, they're sure picking up nice yardage through the penalty route. Half Moon Bay's had a great season. They're 8-1. Their only loss, Hillsdale.
Hillsdale's a great program right now, up and coming. That would have been a great game to go see.
Then that Ocean Division is very strong. McAuliffe's going to throw. He's looking deep. He has a man wide open, but it's just slightly overthrown. It was Garmenza, and boy, that would have been easy pickings there.
Yeah, that's twice he's overthrown the receivers on the deep route. If he can just get a little bit more air, give his receiver a time to adjust to the ball, they'd have 2 additional touchdowns right now.
Nicely thrown ball with a tight spiral, just slightly. That one looked even better than the last one.
Yeah, just a hair too much. You know, when you see him beat deep, especially if there's no one up top on top of him, put some air on him, let him get under it.
2nd and 10 for the Vikings. Down by 2 scores here in the second quarter. 60th Battle of the Strip. McAuliffe's going to throw again, a little bit high, and unable to haul it down for the Mills Vikings was Killigrew, and another penalty flag comes out. This one might be against Cap again.
Yeah, that's the last thing that Cap wants to do right here. You back him down 2nd and long, and now do a penalty, add additional yardage. Keeping, you know, they're not keeping Mills in the game, but they're giving them opportunities to stick around, and that's the last thing you want.
Here's the signal from Brian Mickelson, and it is once again against Capuchino. So each team now with 3 penalties and more yardage mark-off. And basically this drive, which started near the own 20, actually was inside the 20. They got the fumble recovery. Yep. It was at the 17, I believe. And now all of a sudden they've moved into Cap's territory inside the 30 to about the 28. And Coach White is going to call a timeout and try to regroup things here.
Yeah, that's a good decision right there. You know, they started off, like you said, around the 17, been chipping away, penalties, grinding it out. Give your defense a break. You know, your offense has been scoring fast, so your defense has been out there on the field a lot. Give them a second, regroup, try to find a way to stop this drive.
Let's continue with these peninsula rivalries, Brian. Let's go to Carlmont and Sequoia, the 62nd meeting, and that's tonight. Started in 1955. They call it the Battle for the Terramare Trophy. Cherokees lead that series 31-29 and 1 tie. That one's pretty close.
Yeah, that's one where, you know, all week they're talking about that. One team wants to separate, the other team wants to tie it up. You know, that's an interesting record there over a 60-year period.
Woodside and Menlo Atherton. That game is tonight, the 59th meeting. That's been going since 1959. The Wildcats lead that series 32-24 with 2 ties. That one pretty close also. We talked about the Valpo Bowl, and Jefferson and Kings Academy, a fairly new rivalry, and the Knights lead that one 6-1. It's the 8th meeting. That's tonight, and that's only been going since 2008.
Yeah, that's an interesting rivalry. You know, normally Jefferson would have been Westmore, which is right down the street, but Westmore hasn't fielded a team in probably 20 years, so you got to find somebody to compete against.
1st and 10. McAuliffe's going to throw deep to the end zone. It's underthrown. He's hit as he's thrown, and it's intercepted by the Mustangs.
Well, whatever Coach White said to him worked. That was a great job making the adjustment on the defense. Looked like they had the 2 safeties high and just throw the ball a little bit short, made a pick, get the ball back.
I believe that was Grajeda.
Killebrew on the field. Get Killebrew on the field. He's in the dog.
So 2 turnovers each, and what do we got going on over there, Brian, in the Capuchino stands? This must be the sign of 2015 in technology.
Yeah, exactly. It almost looks like you're at a concert and the lighters are going, but they're doing it with their cell phones.
Yeah, they got their flashlights on, so now Mills is doing it. This is great.
This is awesome.
And on 1st and 10, back to the game, Capuchino with the run. It was Jacobs. And this drive is going to start from the 7-yard line and may have picked up about 5 on the play. But I really like that. These are portable lights, by the way. They bring them in special, and you know they're not perfect, but hey, you'd rather have these game on Friday nights than Saturday afternoons.
Oh, absolutely, or even Friday afternoon. You know, that's the thing when you're a high school football player. You play the Friday night games. It's after school. The parents can come out and watch. It just creates such a different atmosphere.
And it's packed here in San Bruno. There's a lot of people, even on the sidelines. This is great atmosphere. Handoff. Breaking free is Jacobs. Jacobs still on his feet and moving. Finally brought down past the 25-yard line. Easy first down for Damien.
He was 1 tackle away from taking that all the way to the house.
Well, the last rivalry we can talk about is the Sarah versus Bellarmine one, but this year was actually played on October the 2nd, 36-28. Sarah actually plays Valley Christian to end the season. The Sarah Bellarmine matchup, 68th meeting. That started in 1946, the 2nd longest rivalry next to the Little Big Game.
Yeah. When you're talking WCAL, I feel like every week's a rivalry week with them because there's no conference realignment or changes.
Gutierrez's pass is complete and a big hit laid out over on the right sideline, but holding on for the catch was Tariq Moore. Unless they ruled that incomplete. I couldn't quite see that one, Brian. I'm not sure if they
Can't tell if they've made a call yet. Nope, they gave it to him.
Okay, so it looks like it's going to be 2nd and 6. It looked like Mills thought it was incomplete. Nonetheless, here's Gutierrez under center. And a pitch toss right, Jacobs. Jacobs, showing his speed, is thrown to the ground by the Mills defender, Valentino Orozco, the senior defensive end. First down, Mustangs. Last year, Cap won 34-15. Anthony Pellegrini threw 3 touchdown passes and ran for 2 touchdowns also to cap his 3-year varsity career. He was quite a player.
Yeah, he was an all-around player. Football player, baseball player, great athlete.
Here's Jacobs. Jacobs, you got guys tugging on his jersey, grabbing his cleats, and here comes a flag from the back judge, Dan Klausner, at the end of the play.
And it's funny because Jacobs was hurt last week, and now he's coming. He didn't even play the first couple series. So imagine if he was fully healthy.
Injured player for the Vikings down on the field. Still no signal yet on the flag. Here it comes.
Personal foul
And it goes against the Vikings. 4th penalty on Mills. And the mark-off will result in another Mustang first down to keep this drive alive. Once again, Sacred Heart Prep leads Menlo 7-0. Hillsdale trails Aragon 9-7. Half Moon Bay leads Terranova 14-0. The injured player is walking off under his own power, and that was a Roscoe. But Mills in a bit of a bind here as this Cap offense is now on the attack with less than 4 minutes to go until the break.
Yeah, this would be a great stop if Mills could hold them and slow Jacobs down before going into halftime. That would be a big lift for them.
Long snap count. It's Jacobs, right side, big hole. Still hasn't been touched yet. Eludes one Mills defender, and actually he was able to get credited for the tackle. And we'll give credit to that tackle for Ibanez, who just got a piece of Jacobs and able to knock him to the ground, but not before Damian picks up another Mustang first down.
He's just a tough guy to bring down. It just shows his true strength. When he gets going, his feet are moving. It's not going to be one hit. You got to get everybody wrapping up to bring him down.
From the 17. Looked like Jacobs again, a big rugby scrum. Pickup of a few up to the 15. It'll be 2nd and 8. In 2013, Mills won 38-7 right here at Cap for Coach Krieger's first Battle of the Strip win. In Coach Krieger's first year over at Mills, Cap won 52-33, and that was when Justin Ewing ran wild for 229 yards on 44 carries, scored 4 touchdowns to clinch Cap's first outright league title since 1958.
Wow.
Jacobs here at Cap's running back university.
Well, Jacobs is trying to get that next, trying to get the next 100% league championship.
And they have a chance to win that outright tonight with the win. Jefferson's league record is final at 4-1. So even if Cap lost and ended up 4-1, they would share the title, but technically Capuchino would get the automatic CCS bid because they beat Jefferson head-to-head. And it's 1st and goal from the 7. Jacobs puts his head down, and it takes 3 or 4 guys to try to prevent Jacobs from getting into the end zone, and he's going to be inside the 1. And no, they give him the signal from the far official, and Jacobs is in for his 3rd score of the night, this one from 7 yards out.
Yeah, and to go back to your point, Ken, you know, they already got the co-championship locked down, even if they lose tonight. But when you get those T-shirts or you see that banner hanging in the gym, you don't want to see co. You want that to be outright. You know, it's kind of like kissing your sister, I guess.
And winning 27-7, they got a great shot. Tough snap, the kick is blocked. Give him a call if the block. It was a high snap, and the holder had a difficult time getting it down. That was Fafita, the holder, and so you actually will get credited with the block, so the extra point is no good. It remains 27-7.
Yeah, McAuliffe's doing it all tonight, playing quarterback, getting a pick, blocking a kick. I mean, he's trying to do anything he can to keep Mills in this game.
It's time to say thank you to another one of our underwriters, the City of San Mateo. We are excited to have the city on board with MCTV Sports, especially since we show so many events that include the high schools in San Mateo. Those include Aragon, Hillsdale, and San Mateo High School. To find out more information about San Mateo, check out the city website at cityofsanmateo.org. Thanks again to San Mateo. Thank you so much for watching MCTV Sports. Here is the first half winds down, 2:28 on the scoreboard. Kenny Milch along with Brian Powers, and the kickoff by Capuchino is scooped up on his knees. Kind of looked like a shortstop on that one.
Yeah, just making sure that ball didn't get to the back line. The only problem was when he went down, his knees hit, so it killed the play right away. He had time, if his knees didn't hit, to probably get an additional 5 or 10 yards and put him in better field position.
And it was Tonga Lava getting down on that ball. So the Vikings will have it. 1st and 10 at their own 30 or 31. Chain gang got it right. McAuliffe going to operate from the shotgun with Killigrew to his right. He gives it to Andrew, who gets up near the line of scrimmage, but not a whole lot more. That Cap defensive line was stacking them up on that one.
Yeah, and when you have 2 minutes before halftime, you're in a situation where you have to decide, do we want to go for the score, which of course you always want to, but at the same time you don't want to turn the ball over. If you throw a pick or fumble, you're pretty much giving Cap a real good chance with Damian Jacobs that they're going to score another touchdown. So you just run the ball, kind of run the clock, and then punt it away, leave with nothing, or you take the chance and try to go for the score.
We mentioned San Mateo. They play that little big game against Burlingame tomorrow at 11 a.m. Handoff. I believe that was Tonga Lava. He stumbles forward to the 35-yard line. Going to bring up a 3rd and about 6.
Yeah, I'm surprised Coach Wyatt isn't using his last time out right here.
And good call, Brian. He just called his 3rd and final timeout of the half.
Yeah, he's using that timeout because if they stop him here, they're going to have to punt and they're going to get a chance to get the ball back. Obviously, if you can get the ball, give Damian Jacobs a chance, or even some of the other athletes they have on the team to put another score up, it's going to be really tough for Mills to come back. But hey, if you hold them here, down by 20, that's still a reasonable number to come back from.
2012, their first outright championship for Cap since 1958. In 2011, under then head coach Adam Hyman, Cap was tri-champions of the Lank, where they shared it with El Camino and Carlmont. They all three went 4-1. That year, Cap was 6-4 overall, but El Camino got the CCS bid on the tiebreaker because the Lake only gets one automatic qualifier, unlike the Bay, who gets 4.
Yeah, and we were talking about that. The Ocean may be the best division out of all 3, and they only get 1 automatic where the Bay gets 4. So you're going to see some teams that have a losing record make it to where some really solid teams might be out.
And on the handoff in the backfield, not much room there for Tonga Lava. And that'll bring up 4th down, clock moving with less than 1:07 to go. And most of those Ocean Division teams are going to get at-large bids for their nice record and who they've played.
Yeah, strength of schedule is a big part of it now. I mean, we saw that a couple years ago when SI was 2-8 and made it all the way to the CCS championship game. So playing a tough preseason schedule really helps out. I mean, look at Cap. They won 1 game in the preseason, but it helped prepare them for league play, and now they come in, they're 4-0, looking to go 5-0, and get a good seeding into CCS.
Timeout, Mills. Score update. Aragon leads Hillsdale 15-14. Aragon just scored on a Donovan Robinson 25-yard touchdown run. And we'll get into the CCS stuff a lot in the second half, so stay tuned for that. We've got tons of information to flood you with when it comes to Central Coast section playoffs.
We know it all.
In 2012, in the Battle of the Strip game, Pellegrini's sophomore year, Anthony had a 25-yard rushing touchdown against Mills in the Mustangs, that 52-33 win. And Ewing carried the ball that 44 times, had 4 touchdowns. you know, the beat went on. In 2011, Cap won 21-6. And that year, Ewing ended up with 1,837 yards, 21 touchdowns. That was, of course, his junior year. Fourth down, Mills is going to punt out of the timeout. And it's Killigrew. Getting a nice kick out to the sideline. They don't want to allow Gutierrez, who's back, the quarterback. That's pretty rare to have your QB back to receive a punt.
Yeah, well, you know what? In a situation like this, Cap doesn't throw the ball that much. So the people that handle it the most are the running backs and the quarterbacks. So especially in a situation right here where we don't want to have a turnover like what happened in the first time, who handles the ball more than the quarterback? So it's a smart move. Make sure he receives it. Make sure nothing happens, especially right before halftime.
Here on senior night in San Bruno on Carl Reyna Field. Capuchino has 13 seniors, Mills 9. And we'll likely just see 1 or 2 runs here from Jacobs. And if he doesn't break anything, we'll head to the locker room.
Move him in the middle of the field. We got 2 guys covering the tight end.
And it is Jacobs. And Jacobs breaks through, shows a burst of speed. He's a big guy, but he can show those quick bursts as he gets up to midfield there.
Yeah, he has that second level speed. When he hits it right through the very beginning, he doesn't look very fast, he's more quick. But when he gets into the open field, you see that sprinter type speed come out.
Penalty on the play. And it goes against the Mustangs. Each team now with 4 penalties here in the first half. In 2010, Cap won 28-0. It was the first shutout since 2004 when Cap won 7-0 at Mills. Then quarterback Tim Gretter scored twice for Cap, and Will Scott had a 37-yard TD run. And it looks like it's Jacobs again. Jacobs turning on the afterburners. Just what Mills did not want is Jacobs breaking free, and a touchdown saving tackle made there for Mills by Christian Roxas. 3 seconds left, so the clock will start as soon as they put the ball down. Cap may try to spike it here and get one more play off, or they could just hand off to Jacobs one more time. And he does spike it with 1 second left on the clock.
That's good ball management right there. That very easily could have turned into disaster and gone into halftime.
So the ball will be spotted at the 25-yard line, just inside the 25, and Cap will have one final play. And if you're a guessing man or a betting guy, then you'd probably put your money on Jacobs. Timeout Mills, smart timeout there, their final timeout, why not?
Yeah, if you have it, use it. In a situation like this, they just spike the ball. They're going to come up with some type of play. Like you said, it's probably going to go to Jacobs, but make sure you have the right personnel, you have the right game plan, you're not rushing it.
So Mills' last win was 2013 over Cap, and then you'd have to go back to 2009. 48-41, Mills wins the high-scoring thriller. With the score tied at 41-all, Jared Puelmau scored the game-winning touchdown on a 9-yard touchdown run with just 56 seconds left. Puelmau, who then went to CSM, ended up with 124 yards rushing on 25 carries, scored 2 touchdowns, plus a 2-point conversion run. Quarterback then Brandon Berkovats threw for 156 yards, 3 TD tosses, and 2 of them to his older brother, Anthony Berkovats.
It's a good day for the family.
48-41 Mills. 2009 they won, and 2013, but since then and in between, it's been Cap with the victories.
And, you know, even with all the games that you've been recapping, the one thing that really stands out is it hasn't been a lopsided win. There hasn't been a 49-0, a 56-7. These games are 41-45. 28-10. You're seeing close scores, and that's what you want to see in rivalries.
So one final play, and Gutierrez is going to throw it towards the end zone, and it's intercepted. That ball was underthrown, And it was Jerry Ibanez coming up with the turnover. The third one for Cap. Mills ended up with 2 turnovers, and we have reached intermission. 27-7, Capuchino leads. Let's recap the scoring. In the first quarter at the 7:27 mark, it was Moore scoring a 61-yard TD run with the extra point. It was 7-0. Then with 3:28 left in the quarter, Cap struck again on a Jacobs 30-yard touchdown run with the extra point, 14-0. But then the Vikings got a turnover and scored on a Stanley 17-yard TD run from the H-back position. Add the extra point, it was 14-7. But then it was Jacobs from 56 yards out and Jacobs from 7 yards out, and that brought us to the 27-7 halftime score. Once again, you're watching MCTV Sports. We'll take a short break and we'll come back with the second half of this 60th annual Battle of the Strip game, Capuchino and Mills. Stay with us. Halftime winding down here on Carl Reina Field in San Bruno. The 60th annual Battle of the Strip. Cap leads 27-7 at halftime. I'm Kenny Milch along with Brian Powers, and it was certainly an entertaining first half. Brian, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there was scoring, there was turnovers, there were stops, interceptions. There's nothing more you can ask. I mean, seeing Damian Jacobs, he's lived up to the hype from what I've seen. But at the same time, Mills has found a way to stay in this game. And I think coming out of the second half, if they can kick off, get a stop, get the ball back, it's going to bring some excitement. But if they give up a quick touchdown, you kind of see where the table's turning.
We mentioned Mills looking for their first Lake Division victory since 2013. And that was Coach Krieger's second year, and that was actually a really good year for Coach Krieger and Mills. They went 7-3 overall. They went 3-2 in the Lake. They finished in a 3-way tie for second place with El Camino and Kings Academy. You know, he had some horses that year, but recently he just hasn't quite had them.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about at halftime. You know, different schools, it comes in cycles. But I think just seeing the scores, seeing the team play, they play hard and they're in the right direction. You know, next year's team could be full of studs that we just don't know about, and would be a completely different story next year at this time.
Recapping Mills' season, they lost their opener at San Jose 54-14. Then they won that game at Gunn 34-7. They also beat Galileo 34-12, and they were 2-1. They lost at Yerba Buena 32-18, and then they beat Mission of San Jose 39-26, so they finished that preseason at 3-2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then go right into league scores. You're going to see, obviously the first game was 35-6, 28-6, but the last two, 28-21, 35-28, and that Jefferson score, you know, they almost beat Cap last week. So you're seeing they're playing good, they're competing. We're not seeing crazy blowout scores. So this is a team, I think, that's on the right track, that has good things in the future.
Capuchino this season began with a loss at Burlingame, a Bay Division team who's really good, 30-13, and then they lost to South City 35-8, lost at Hillsdale 31-13. Then they beat Soquel 42-6 and lost at San Lorenzo Valley, another CCS playoff team, 28-13. Then they hit Lake Division play 4-0, so that tough preseason schedule certainly has paid off.
Yeah, when you looked at that preseason, when I looked at it this morning, they played, you know, just looking at teams like Burlingame, San Lorenzo Valley, Hillsdale, those are going to be three teams that are going to be highly seeded in the CCS playoffs, and they competed. And then it just showed right when they got into the league. I mean, they have literally blown through this league, minus the Jefferson game where it was a tough competitive game, but they've just been putting up points, and Damian Jacobs has just been running wild.
And for a couple weeks, Jefferson was considered the darling of the lake. Everybody was talking about Kowal Davis and Jefferson. They're going to go undefeated. And then all of a sudden they ran into this San Bruno Cap squad that said, hold on a second. Head coached by Ben White. He's done a fantastic job.
He really has. And when I heard that he was actually coming back, I was really excited. Because, Capuchino has athletes every single year. And I think having a quality coach like that come in that has the reputation, knows the area, knows the kids, it's just going to bring a lot to this program.
And he's kept the tradition of the power running game going, which everybody in San Bruno has come accustomed to, and they expected, and he's continued that with Jacobs and Moore and company. And we're underway here in the third quarter. The kickoff is taken by Capuchino over to the left side, and it was Grajada. And he takes it up near the 34, maybe the 35-yard line, and that's where the Mustangs will take over in their first possession. Hills needs to make a stand here, get a stop to try to stay in this one.
Yeah, get a stop, get a turnover. You should just find a way to get that ball back. I mean, what they don't want is to have a 5-minute drive, knock down the clock, and then all of a sudden Cap comes and scores. If they can get the ball back in good field position, it's going to bring some life to this team.
Again, Mills on the season, 3-6 overall, 0-4 in the lake. Capuchino 5-4 overall, 4-0 in the lake, in case you're just joining us. And if you are, thank you so much for tuning in. Kenny Milch along with Brian Powers on MCTV. And 10 for Capuchino, the first play from scrimmage. It's a run over the left side. And we'll try to catch a number over on the sideline. Looked like it was Grajada. And he only picked up a yard on that play at best. Maybe no gain, 2nd and 10. That's the kind of run stopper you need if you're a Vikings coach and their staff. Mike Krieger, his brother Barrett Krieger, Davida Halaholo, Dan Carnock, and Tom Flowers. 2nd and 10. Gutierrez going to throw. Gutierrez over the middle, deep, has a man, and 2 actual receivers were in the vicinity, and it kind of created a log jam.
Yeah, there was too much in there. I think they almost didn't know who was going to catch it, who was going to go after it, but it was a great throw right on the money. That would have been a great play for Cap to really kind of put the final push in. But you know what? It's 3rd and long. Make something happen here.
This may be the biggest play thus far for this Vikings defense. Here on senior night in San Bruno, and what a great high school atmosphere it is. Thank you once again for watching us here on MCTV Sports. And I've enjoyed covering the last 13 years of this rivalry. And here's Jacobs caught in the backfield on 3rd and long, and it was Killigrew. Boy, somebody forgot to block him.
Yeah, Killigrew just came completely unblocked, got to Jacobs. There obviously must have been a misalignment. Somebody took the wrong person, but that's a huge stop. Now Mills is going to get a chance back with good field position.
Sets up a 4th and 14 situation. Elsewhere in the Lake Division on rivalry night, Kings Academy is at Jefferson. Sequoia is at Carlmont. Couple score updates. Kings Academy is leading 34-28 over Jefferson in the second quarter. How's that possible? There's Jacobs with a punt. Boy, that's a nice boot. And it takes a Capuchino roll inside the 30 to the 27-yard line, where it is downed there by Keith Thomas. 34-28, is that a misprint or what? Carlmont leads Sequoia at halftime, 7-0. Half Moon Bay leads Terra Nova 14-7 at half. Aragon is beating Hillsdale 15-14. At last check, Sacred Heart Prep was beating Menlo 7-0. There's your updates. Here it's 27-7, but Mills on their first possession of the second half gets a nice run through the middle. It's Tongalava, And he's brought down by Gutierrez, and that's going to be a gain of 11 on 1st and 10.
Yeah, at this point in the game, obviously you guys are down by about 20 points. Just chip away. Get first downs, move the ball, work your way down the field. There's still plenty of time to create the turnovers and make the big plays later. Don't try and get too fancy right now.
Ball spotted at the 38 of the Vikings in their white with scarlet, red, and gold trim. That's McAuliffe under center with a quick handoff to Killigrew, and he's stacked up by a couple Mustang defenders. A couple of the big fellas in there, starting with Pamasa Amavai. Also in there was Eloyo Amataga. Tomorrow from the Lake, San Mateo hosting Burlingame. Pickup of a yard for Killigrew, 2nd and 9. And there's another broken play. The quarterback and running back kind of ran into each other, with Tonga Lava ending up with it. And he's going to actually may picked up even a yard on the play.
Yeah, some miscommunication. At this point in the game, you know, mistakes have to be minimal.
Pickup of a yard.
You're trying to get back in it. You're trying to create something, make it happen. Everyone needs to be on point right here.
You know, with a Cap victory today, not only do they win the Lake Division title outright, but they will be able to get out of the Lake next year, move up to the Ocean, similar to what Kings Academy did for this year.
Yeah, Kings Academy had a great team last year, and they were able to move up and compete in that division too.
And they're winning tonight, beating Jefferson, and that was Ibanez, and he got wrestled down by Academy did for this year. Defenders. It was Tariq Moore, and that's going to be a big loss on the play and bring up a 4th down. So that's not quite the drive that Mills was looking for after that 11-yard pickup on 1st down.
Yeah, things went stagnant there. But you know what? At least you come out, you got the stop, you didn't make something happen. It's positive momentum right here. If we can get a great punt off and make something happen, you know, back in it.
Killigrew to punt, and back to receive is Grajada. High punt, short, takes a Cap bounce and goes out of bounds at the 42. Mustangs will have very good field position
back in it
to start their 2nd drive of the 3rd quarter. In 2008, Capuchino won 28-27 at Mills in dramatic fashion. The Vikings were down by 7 when Jared Pumau shook loose for a 40-yard touchdown run with only 1.5 seconds left in the game. And on 1st and 10 for Capuchino here in 2015, Jacobs picks the Vikings about 14 yards and crosses into Mills territory. But interestingly, in that game in 2008, I remember it like it was yesterday, Coach Packy Moss went for the win with a 2-point conversion attempt. On a fullback dive by Tavita Latamua, Cap's line held strong and the Mustangs held on for the controversial 1-point win. Mills thought that Tavita got in, but the officials said no.
That's what you love to see in a rivalry game. You know, that's why there's been no ties. They're going for the wins, and that's what you want to see.
1.5 seconds left, and Puamau, he ran it in from 42 yards. The official went for the 2-point conversion. It was stacked up at the line. It was one of the most thrilling games that I had been a part of in broadcasting these once again for about 13 years. And certainly very exciting. 2008, that was the year of Nate Newman of Capuchino, who was the then San Mateo County leading rusher. He had 1,831 yards on 251 carries, 16 touchdowns in 10 games, an average of 183 yards a game. Here's Jacobs, the 2015 version of Newman and Puamau and all the great running backs that we've mentioned over the years that have come out of Capuchino.
And in the world today of spread offenses and throwing the ball 75 times a game, it seems like, it's good to see that the run is still effective. The run sets up the pass. When you have a power running game, you control the clock and you control the tempo. And I'm glad to see that Ben White has kept that since he's brought it here.
2007 Cap here in San Bruno. Mills won that game 20-9, and that was Coach Moss's introduction to the strip game. So he won his first Battle of the Strip contest. Here's Gutierrez dropping back to throw. He's throwing deep towards the end zone. Has a man, it's caught. Touchdown Mustangs. Phil McGoldrick from 34 yards out.
McGoldrick's been their deep threat all day. He's dropped a couple passes early, but he came up big right there. Right on the money, right into him. McGoldrick made a great play on that.
Very well thrown ball by Gutierrez, and it comes at the 5:38 mark of the third quarter. First touchdown of the second half. Cap has scored 3 straight unanswered touchdowns. On to kick the extra point is Miguel Sandoval. So far, he is 3 of 4, and now we'll make it 4 of 5. The one he missed was blocked, and it was on that high snap. McAuliffe happened to block that one, but this one's through. It's 34-7. Not what you want if you're the Vikings.
Yeah, you get the stop, you punt it away, and then they score quick. Obviously the good thing is they're going to get the ball back. They're going to have a chance right away. They didn't knock a lot of time off the clock, but every possession they go without scoring, it's going to make it harder and harder for them to get back in this game.
One of the few times that Mills won twice in a row in this storied rivalry. We mentioned in Packy Moss's debut in 2007. They also had won in 2006. Mills beat Cap in Millbrae. 42-20 was the final. Mills went 7-4 that year. In 2005, the Mustangs beat the Vikings in San Bruno 55-14. Cap scored 6 rushing touchdowns, had an interception return for a TD and a safety. And in fact, the Mustangs did not throw a single pass in 2005.
2005, that's going back to when I was in high school. But yeah, I remember Cap's teams back then. They were very run heavy, had a lot of great athletes on it, so that doesn't surprise me one bit.
5:38 left to go in the third quarter. Onside kick, or maybe another missed kick, but nonetheless, it's by Mills and Killigrew, and they'll have great starting field position.
Yeah, it looks like they were doing a squib kick, didn't want to go deep. Killigrew made a great play because now they're starting off on the 45-yard line. If you let that ball get by, crazy things can happen like we've seen tonight. So this at least gives them an opportunity to hopefully make a quick strike.
Hillsdale leads Aragon 21-15 at halftime. In the Battle of the Fleas. Here, this is Battle of the Strip in San Bruno.
Much better name.
Killigrew in motion. McAuliffe steps up in the pocket. He's going to tuck it and run. And he's dragged down. Nice open field tackle made there and try to catch a number. I believe that was Tariq Moore, who's doing it on defense. Really, he's been a shining star for this defensive unit under Coach White.
Yeah, he's a two-way player. Both of these teams don't have a 40-man roster on each side, so you're seeing guys play both ways. And Tariq Moore is, he's the thunder on offense, and he's the thunder on defense. He's the linebacker that's going to go in there, is going to hit the running back in the hole, make the plays in the flat, and not let them get past that first line.
McAuliffe going deep. And this one was a nicely thrown ball, but that time the coverage was much better.
Much better on that one, absolutely.
This program is made possible with support from many community organizations, including the Millbrae Lions Club. The Lions Club has long supported MCTV local programming and youth events. To learn more about the Millbrae Lions Club and how it helps the community through volunteership, visit millbraelions.org. Thanks, Lions. 3rd and 3. McAuliffe, handoff to Tongalava's got room, and he takes the pile with him past the first down marker. We mentioned the Battle of the Strip. It was named after a portion of El Camino Real that stretches from Millbrae to San San Bruno. Back in 1959, teenagers and youth adults would cruise the strip and have a good time. There's a trophy with the history on it, and both teams won it. McAuliffe, nice touch pass. And it's caught. Let's see if he stayed in bounds, and I believe he did. Very nice play. And McAuliffe, nice touch pass. And it's close to another first down. I believe Mills has it. That's their best pitch and catch play we've seen tonight.
Yeah, at this point, that's all it is pitch and catch. Throw to the open receiver. Don't have to do anything big at this point. I know you're down by a couple touchdowns, but you got to get the first down. You got to keep the ball moving. You don't have to take those crazy shots just yet. But now would be a good time. First down, why not go deep?
Officials' time on the field. There is an injured Mills Vikings player. Let's hope that young man's okay. We left off at 2005. How about in 2004, Cap won 7-0 at Mills, one of the few shutouts in the recent history. The Mustangs scored their lone touchdown on a Ramy Salah 3-yard run. The Vikings did have one golden scoring opportunity in the game when Chris Del Bianco caught and ran a screen pass for 65 yards, but the drive later stalled, and Mills never did tally a point in a brilliant defensive chess game that was won that year by Capuchino. A couple more names for you from the past. Ramy Salah and Chris Del Bianco.
Chris Del Bianco, I know Chris Del Bianco really well. Played baseball with him at Skyline College. I'm looking at your stat sheet, and I'm skipping a few years, but it's bringing back memories, some of the names that are coming back up.
We're getting into your neck of the woods,
Exactly.
right? What year did you graduate?
2006, but when I was at Terra Nova, we actually played Mills my sophomore year, which would have been the 2003 season when they were undefeated and actually the #1 seed in CCS, and we were the 8th seed at Terra Nova and upset them at Mills High School.
There you go. In that year, 2003, Mills beat Cap 22-12 here in San Bruno, breaking a 7-year drought. The Vikings were down 12-0 in the second quarter, but they rallied behind a pair of TD tosses from Jeff Acosta to grab a 15-12 halftime lead. The first one was Anthony Leyva, and the second one was to Dan Lloyd, which turned out to be the game winner. And that season was Barrett Krieger's first year, current head coach Mike Krieger's brother's first year.
Yeah, you can just tell the correlation between the schools, the teams, the games. You know, it's a family affair over here.
And like you were saying, 2003 was a great year for Mills. They went undefeated at 7-0 to capture the Ocean Division Championship. They went 10-1 overall, losing in the first round of the Central Coast Section playoffs
to Terra Nova.
That score?
I can't remember the score, but I scored a touchdown in that game. I still remember that.
I can't believe I didn't write down that score. Bad announcer.
I remember we won pretty handily.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we won't mention the score. But anyways, that was really one of their best years in the past 12, 13 years, 2003. And that's what Coach Krieger and his brother want to bring back to Mills. But they got to get more interest. They've got to get more depth on the roster, more players, and you've got to get some of the high-skill players too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The horses.
Yeah, and the tough thing when we're talking about schools on the peninsula is there's so many schools where these kids can go to. And when you're trying to build up a program and you have years that you struggle and you have a school like Capuchino that's right down the street, which is probably in the same district that they can go to, it makes it hard to do that. But I think when parents see what Coach Krieger's doing, they see the kids are competing, it's just going to make people want to come here because they know they're going to be with a quality coach and a quality staff. And I think that's the main thing.
Elias Uy, no, check that. Isi Mapa is the injured player who is now able to walk off under his own power, which is good news for Mills and for that young man. And, of course, his parents, who probably had some anxious moments. He was down for quite a while.
Yeah, you never want to see anybody go down. And, football itself is a physical game. He's up, walking, looks good. That's always a great sign.
2002, Cap beat Mills 55-0 in Millbrae. That was one of the bigger blowouts that you talk about you don't see very often.
Yeah, we had to go back to 2002 to get that.
There you go. And it's the Vikings now resuming play with the possession. It was Killigrew with the handoff on 1st and 10. He may have picked up a yard. Looks like 2nd and 9. Ball is going to be moving to the 31-yard line of Capuchino. So Mills in a good spot here to try to tick the scoreboard and somehow maybe try to get back in this game.
Yeah, one score, onside kick, a turnover, it's back in it. You know, we've seen some crazy things happen in college football the last few weeks, so you just never know what can happen until it's over.
And McAuliffe's going to throw, and it is going to be incomplete. Intended for Killigrew over on the right side. And it's 3rd and 9. And McAuliffe's going to throw. It's going to be incomplete. PAL League Championship 2006. Before that was 2003. They also won in 2001, so they had some success in the early turn of the century, but it's been a rough as of late. You go back to 2011. Before Krieger got here, it was 1-9 overall. 2010, they were 0-10. 2009, 2-7-1. 08, 2-8, and so on. Here's the pass from McAuliffe, and Capuchino says it was incomplete. Haven't seen a call from an official yet.
Yeah, I don't think they've made a call yet.
And I guess they're going to rule it incomplete. So,
well, even if it was a complete pass, it didn't look like they were going to gain much off that anyways.
So it'll bring up a 4th down and 9. You got no choice but to go for it here.
Yeah, you're in 4-down territory from here on out. But, you know, back to your point, you really never know as a high school football coach what you're going to get when your freshmen come in and start to play. You don't know if it's going to be a great class, a horrible class, or if the class can develop until their sophomore, junior years. So I think what Coach Krieger's doing is great. He's building this program. He's competing. That's all you can really ask for out of high school level kids.
McAuliffe with a lob pass, and it's intercepted. And credit the interception to Iolo Amataga. And that's the 3rd turnover by Mills.
Yeah, I like the call that they did there. You know, 3rd and long, do a screen to the running back. If you get that up and over the linebacker, you have a chance to make a big play right there, but just a little too short, and it puts Cap in a great situation to kind of finish this game out.
And that lob pass hung up there for quite a while.
And that's all you can really ask for out of high school level kids. In a situation like that, you want to put it to where only the running back's going to catch it, nobody else.
Hand off to Jacobs. Already with 3 touchdowns tonight. Drags a few Mills defenders along for the ride up to midfield, very close to the marker. And they are going to credit Jacobs with another 1st down.
See how much longer we're going to see Jacobs in the game. With CCS playoffs starting up next week, you have a pretty handed lead. I wouldn't be surprised if after the next touchdown, you know, he's taken the 4th quarter off, especially coming off of an injury last week.
And you said it. Let's start talking a little CCS after this play. 3 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Handoff to Moore. Moore shows his speed, sheds a tackler, and he's still on his feet. Moore takes things inside the 20, down near the 15-yard line. About a 25-yard gain inside the Vikings red zone. And just when you think you're finally getting a handle on Jacobs, boom, here comes Moore.
Yeah, well, that's why they call him thunder and lightning between the two. And then you even add Grajeda in there. You just never know. Cap does a number of different offenses where they put their receivers, their running backs in different slots, different positions. And when all 3 of them get the ball in their hands, they can make things happen. So you try to stop one, you got another one coming at you.
Pick your poison. Moore at fullback and Jacobs at the tailback I formation. They give it to Jacobs. They try the right side. Jacobs runs into one of his own players, but is able to make something out of nothing. And he picks up some positive yards. May have picked up about 4 or 5. And it's going to be 2nd and 6. So let's talk a little playoffs. CCS playoff projections for the non-open or the BC Division I bracket. NorCal Preps, a knowledgeable poster, has predicted that Capuchino would be an 8 seed and play the likes of a top-seeded Hillsdale. Not an easy task.
Not an easy task at all, but they played them earlier in the year, and this Cap team is a much early in the season.
Here's Gutierrez on the pitch out. It's Jacobs, and he's hit and wrestled to the ground. Nice defensive play in the backfield for the Vikings.
You know, this past baseball season, we saw a Lake Division champion in Mills go to Terra Nova, number 2 seed, and upset them than they were early in the season. You know, you just never know what can happen. I mean, seedings are great, but when teams play each other and somebody gets hot at the right time, you know, that can happen.
What a great win for the Mills baseball program. A 15 seed, I believe, against Terra Nova, which was a 2 seed in Pacifica.
In Pacifica.
That was quite a game. It was, I believe, a 1-run game.
Yep.
Here's Jacobs. Jacobs heading for the zone. He stumbles, and he's going to be just shy, marked at the 1-yard line. First and goal. The rest of that bracket, predicted by NorCal Preps, Soledad a 5, Silver Creek a 4. Here's Jacobs headed for the zone. He stumbles, and he's going to be just shy. Versus a 7 seed, possibly Mount Pleasant.
You know, either one of those teams that can pull out that first win can make a deep run. You know, that's a wide open bracket right there.
Moore at fullback, and the flag is going to come out before the snap, and it's movement along the Mustang line. First penalty against Cap in the second half. New CCS playoff format this year, Brian. 3 open divisions based on A division enrollments, PowerPoints. 2 non-open divisions with B and C league automatic qualifiers at large bids that get enrollments placed. You know, CCS keeps changing. They're trying to find the right format, and after this play, you can let us know if you think this is the right one or they still got some work to do. It's first and goal from the 6. And it's Jacobs cutting back close to the end zone, but he's going to be marked shy at about the 3. Brian, your thoughts on the way they're trying to get this right?
You know, I love the fact that they're trying to get it right, because there's times when a small public school should not be playing the Bellarmins of the world. And they've made that change with the open division probably about 10 years ago. But they're always trying to tweak, and they're always trying to find the perfect formula. But the fact is, it's kind of hard to find that perfect formula. This sounds more confusing than ever before with all the different open divisions that they have. But I love the fact that they're trying to find a way that it's going to be even, and teams are going to be playing the right schools based on size and a number of different factors. But there's no real perfect formula.
The third quarter has ended, 34-7. Capuchino leads Mills. Another community group we'd like to thank is the Peninsula Chinese Business Association, which has contributed generously to MCTV and Millbrae schools to support youth programs. The PCBA is a 100% volunteer-based organization with members donating time, talent, and resources to strengthen the community. For more information about PCBA, visit PCBAUSA.com. Things were really a mess last year in CCS when they tried in the open division a double elimination, and you got to look to Sarah and all the hullabaloo that surrounded that program, which is still lingering today.
Yeah, I think the thought was good. The execution wasn't very good. You look at it 2 ways. Sarah knew they were going to play another game, but also, you're asking the kids a lot to play another football game after you've already lost when, a lot of them have other sports to go play after.
Second and goal for Capuchino, and they score another touchdown. And this one is really getting away from Cappuccino. And it was Jacobs with his 4th touchdown of the night. This one from 2 yards out. He scored from 30, from 56, from 7, and now from 2. And it begins the 4th quarter. Here's the extra point from Sandoval. And it's good.
Sandoval with the extra point for Capuchino.
So Sarah, who ended up, for those of you viewers who don't know, in the Open Division playoffs, they lost, but then they had to play in a loser's bracket begins game. They actually the fourth won quarter. that one, and then they had to play another one. Here's and the extra point ended up from because Sandoval. of many different reasons we won't go into. They ended
And
up forfeiting, and the CCS was very upset. In fact, they suspended them for 2 years from the CCS playoffs, and they put them on probation. And then Sarah filed a rejection or a rebuttal to that, and then they were able to compromise, and it's a 1-year ban for the playoffs. So this year, they knew the whole season they weren't going to qualify for CCS. Their penalty was a year ban from the playoffs. But getting back to Capuchino's situation this year, we mentioned the NorCal Preps website and what they think Capuchino is going to end up doing, which is in the Division I BC non-open bracket against a Hillsdale as an 8 seed. Well, Prep to Prep, which is another wonderful website, predicts that Capuchino will be an 8 seed as well, but play a top-seeded Pacific Grove in the Division II bracket. But either way, they're playing two quality teams. But like you said, Capuchino is a team on the rise that I don't think anybody wants to play.
No, and especially if you watch film of the last 4 games, you see explosive players, an explosive running back, a quality quarterback, good defense. You know, you get into playoff time and you get the right the seeding is half the battle. If you can line up good with the first game and have the second game work in your favor, before you know it, you're in the championship. So, you know, any team that faces Capuchino, I'd watch out. They're a quality ball club.
That was kind of like what happened with Terra Nova last year in Division III.
Yeah.
You know, they were 4-6 overall, and they win 3 in a row and capture the CCS crown and end up 7-6.
Mm-hmm.
Little squib kick taken by Carlos Castro up near the 45-yard line for the Vikings, 1st and 10. The rest of that projected bracket by Prep to Prep: Carmel a 4 seed, Menlo School a 5 seed, Scotts Valley a 3, Kings Academy a 6, Half Moon Bay a 2, and San Lorenzo Valley a 7. There's some tougher teams. That bracket looks a more difficult for Capuchino as opposed to the Division I bracket.
The good thing you see is there's a lot of PAL schools in there. And you're noticing that the PAL, all 3 divisions are getting teams in there. Not just the guaranteed, but the at-larges too, which means this is a quality conference. So every week you're playing against great competition.
McAuliffe is in big trouble. He made some nice moves to avoid getting sacked initially, but then he was finally brought down near the 40-yard line. He'll lose about 4 on the play, bring up 2nd and 14. And you mentioned all the other PAL schools. Well, let's go ahead and mention and where they're projected by both NorCal Preps and Prep to Prep. Starting Open Division I, the top division, Menlo Atherton from the Bay of the PAL, a possible 5 seed to face either a 4 like Salinas or maybe a San Benito. No PAL teams projected in the Open Division II, but there are 3 schools possibly projected into the Open Division III we'll get to after this play. Quick pitch out, and Tongalava's going backwards. He's in big trouble. And the sack took him back 4, and this running play will take him back about 10 more, and we're going to be looking at a third about getting back to the Open Division III projections of the CCS playoffs. Terra Nova, a possible 8 seed to face a number 1 seed Palma. That's no easy task, defending their title last year.
Not at all. Palma's been a powerhouse down in the Salinas Valley for 20 years. So having to go there and play against a squad like that, that's not going to be an easy battle at all.
Hillsdale is beating Aragon now 35-15. They've opened that one up.
Hillsdale is going to be a team to watch when they get to CCS.
Terra Nova's back in that game against Half Moon Bay. And it was Killigrew with the carry on 3rd and 24. So he picks up a nice chunk of it, but that's going to bring up a 4th and maybe 17. Tough spot for Mills on this drive. Just got an update. Half Moon Bay was up 14-7, and now I believe it is 16-14 in the third quarter. So maybe there was a safety. My updater didn't say who's winning. It's 16-14, we know it's close. We've got about 3 or 4 guys giving me updates. Carlmont and Sequoia are tied at 7. Kings Academy is beating Jefferson 41-35. 76 points scored in that game. On 4th and 17, Mills is going to punt. And Killigrew gets it off. A low bouncer. And the whistle blows. I guess it hit a Mills special teamer, so the ball is going to be dead and marked near the 45-yard line of Capuchino. So there's some of your score updates for you. And Sacred Heart Prep also projected to be in the Open Division 3 from the Bay Division of the PAL. A possible 5 seed or a 6 seed, depending where you're looking, playing maybe a Reardon or a Live Oak, and Reardon's been a great surprise this year.
Yeah, Reardon got off to a real quick start. They had a couple losses here lately, but it's the WCAL. It's kind of like the SEC of the peninsula for us. You know, they're going to beat up on each other all year. But, yeah, they've been a big surprise, and that's going to be a quality team that's going to go in, you know, go into CCS.
Then you've got Burlingame from the Bay Division, a possible 3 seed or a 4 seed, maybe to play Monte Vista Christian. And Burlingame has put it together nicely the last couple years.
Yeah, I mean, they've always had a solid program there for the last 15, 20 years. You know, you look back 10 years ago when Drew Schiller was the quarterback, 3-sport stud. They've won constantly won CCS championships in all sports, you know. So that's a top-notch program that's always going to compete year in and year out.
Then in the non-open BC Division 2, you've got Menlo, a possible 5 seed to face like a 4 seed like a Scotts Valley or a Carmel. Also from the Ocean, Kings Academy, a possible 3 seed to face maybe a Carmel or a Scotts Valley if they're a 6 seed. And Half Moon Bay, a possible 2 seed to face maybe a Gonzales or San Lorenzo Valley.
Yeah, that's a real good bracket right there for being in the non-open.
So 1st and 10, Capuchino starts this drive here in the fourth quarter. Gutierrez still in, Jacob's still in, and Jacob's still running wild. And he's finally wrestled out of bounds over on the right sideline. And it was Tongalava, and I think Tongalava is... He's down. Hillsdale again, a possible 1 seed, maybe facing either a number 8 like a Westmont or maybe a Capuchino. We talked about that matchup. And then there's Aragon from the Bay Division, who has a very good chance to gain an at-large bid, but they kind of have to wait and see what happens. They're losing currently. We mentioned that score was 35-15, but according to some, even if they lost, if they get some help, they have CCS power points to actually get into the CCS playoffs. Go figure.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows you, though, PAL plays against good teams outside of the conference. The teams in conference are doing well and succeeding. So even if you lose a game and you get those, you know, BCS-type points, it can get you into the playoffs.
1st and 10 for Capuchino. And we're getting set to resume play here in the fourth quarter with just over 9 minutes left. Hand off to Moore. Moore is caught by Killigrew and company. He's going to pick up maybe 2 or 3 and bring up a 2nd and 7. Interesting, Cap has kind of righted the ship. From 2004 to 2014, it's kind of been a coaching carousel. You go back in 04-05, they had Jeff Kalb. Then in 2006, it was Adam Heineman coaching. 2007 to 09, you had Chris Chaika. 2010, Jordan Seiden. 11 and 12, Heineman was back. Then you had Josh Horton for 1 year, and now Ben White for 2. Here's a big run by Jacobs again. First down, Capuchino, but they may have found their man in Ben White.
I think so. Just his pedigree, his background, his involvement within the community before. I think Ben White is the perfect person to lead this program. And he's done it for a number of years. And that's the main thing when it comes to coaching high school football, is such a commitment. It's not just go out there for a couple hours for practice. There's constant hours with breaking down film, scouting opponents, getting cards ready, getting practice schedules ready. And
29 yards. Jacobs now with 5 touchdowns on the night.
Let him keep going. He's making up for his time being hurt last week.
Check that. That's a 23-yard run. Nonetheless, it's number 5 for Jacobs, and this has quickly become a big-time route, 47-7. It was close early on, though, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, Mills was in there hanging in, creating turnovers. That's the one thing we haven't seen this half is the turnovers, the field position battle. You know, Mills came out, got a quick stop, but Cap's been able to come up and score and put it away.
Extra point is no good. It looked like Sandoval just got underneath that ball and was able to just barely bloop it over the line, but nonetheless the touchdown is scored. And you know, you talk about Mills and their history and so forth. How about Paul Fanica? There's a name from the past. Class of 2004 from Mills, drafted in the 7th round as the 213th pick of the 2009 NFL draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. The 6'5", 327-pound offensive guard is now 29 years old. He's currently on the injured reserve list for the Kansas City Chiefs. He played with the Arizona Cardinals for 2 years in 2013 and 2014, and also was on the Seahawks and Washington Redskins. So there's a big-time name for you coming out of Millbrae and Mills High School.
Yeah, I mean, Fanica has been a name that's been around here that we've been able to follow and see, and I think the great thing about the Peninsula, we've had so many great players like Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, you know, people that are making big impacts, and Fanica is definitely one of them. I remember him growing up, so it's kind of cool to see that he's still out there, still, you know, giving it his best, because, you know, NFL stands for not for long, and to be 29 and still playing, that's awesome.
I got another name to throw at you. I know you're going to recognize. We'll wait till after this kickoff. I want to get your thoughts on him. Fanica played his college ball, of course, at Arizona State, the Pac-10, originally as a walk-on. There's the kickoff, and it's taken at about the 25-yard line, and still on his feet, and decides to change direction. Who's that? It's Kyle Mishasic. And the problem is there wasn't much doing the opposite direction. He's going to lose a lot of yardage, and he's going to get...
Yep, he went on to go play football at San Jose State. Strong arm quarterback, had a little run in the Canadian Football League. I remember watching him grow up too. I mean, he was physically one of the best in shape people I've ever seen. Had an amazing arm. I remember watching him at the NFL Scouting Combine. He had a great career over at San Jose State. That was fun to watch him too.
On 1st and 10, Mills tries the right side on the run. Little chippiness there, and these guys are, some of them, taking the field for the last time of their career as a flag comes out. But yeah, he went undrafted in 2008 and played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the CFL, and also went invited to a tryout with the Indianapolis Colts. There played for the Sacramento Mountain Lions and also the Toronto Argonauts, and set numerous passing records for the Spartans of San Jose State, and led them to a bowl victory in 2006 in the New Mexico Bowl.
Yeah, I remember watching that. And he's still really involved within the community. He does personal training, quarterback coaching. You know, I see his name pop up on social media all the time. So that's great that he's giving back. I know Team TAF, which is all about nutrition and, you know, sports fitness, which is awesome.
Running play for the Vikings. Left side. And it's over the left side. Didn't get a whole lot. The ball carrier that time was Joseph Issa. And it's going to bring up a 2nd down and about 10. Adam Tafralis, Paul Fanica, two of the top Mills players to come out of Millbrae. You know, Damian Jacobs scored a touchdown in last year's game, the first score of the game. He had a 20-yard touchdown reception from Pellegrini. And this play doesn't go very far. McAuliffe is sacked. And that's going to bring up a 3rd and 10. Mills last year had a touchdown scored in the second quarter by Kendrick Malaysia Smith. And their other touchdown was scored by Marquise Adkins on a 32-yard touchdown run. That was the last play of Adkins' career. He had a great career, not only in football but in basketball for Mills.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent athlete. Cap won that game 34-15. And on 3rd and 10, it's a run up the middle, and Mills will be forced to punt. I believe we have a running clock now because it's a 35-point lead, I think, in high school football.
Yeah, above 35, clock starts to run. And the main reason, it's not a mercy rule or anything like that. I think just, you know, with the injuries we've seen with the NFL and the concussions, the easiest way to make less hits is to make the clock go by a little bit faster.
So on 4th down at the 4-minute mark, Mills will be punting. And it's Killigrew going to do the honors. And this time I believe it's Moore back to receive. So Coach White rotating his punt returners. Nice kick by Killigrew. And it's taken at the 49 by Moore. Runs into one of his own players. Gets up to the 40 where he's stacked up for a 9-yard return. And Cap will have it, try to run the clock out here. Well, Cap was knocking on the door last year at 4-1. They just fell to Kings Academy in the Lake, who went 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, they were able to shut the door.
Yeah, and I think with King going up to the Lake Division, that opened the door for Capuchino to really kind of take that next step. You know, they had a great team last year, but you know, unfortunately, your one loss is to Kings Academy, and Kings Academy wins the whole thing. So I think Ben White's got this program going on the right steps. He's the right man for the job. He's someone who's going to be here year in, year out, and kids are going to want to come play for him the same way they want to come play for Coach Krieger. So as they start building these up, it's going to be a fun little kind of recruiting war to see where these kids are going to go to school.
Isi Mappa is down and being helped up. Capuchino is headed for their 3rd Lake Division championship in the last 5 years. In 2011, it was a tri-championship with Carlmont and El Camino. In 2012, they won the Lake outright. Hillsdale won the Lake in 2013, Kings last year, and now Capuchino again. Aragon won the Ocean last year, and Sacred Heart Prep won the Bay last year. Kind of a broken play. Couldn't figure out who had the ball, and they're still going. That was Grajada.
No.
Huge gain. About a 23-yard gain for Grajada.
Yeah, with Jacobson's out, he goes, hey, let me make some plays.
We mentioned Prep won the Bay last year, but before that, it was Terra Nova winning 5 in a row.
Yeah.
One of those they shared with Prep, but nonetheless, they were pretty dominant through 2010 through 2013.
Yeah, Bill Gray had a great run there towards the end of his career. You know, somehow Terra Nova always seems to reload athletes, which is fun for me being an alum. But I think the big surprise last year was that Sacred Heart Prep went into the Open Division and won the Open Division, which was a shock to a lot of people, and ended up not actually getting a bid to go play for the state title. So, you know, that was kind of neat to go see.
And they went through the WCAL to win that Open Division championship.
They did.
On 1st and 15 after the penalty against Capuchino. New ball carrier for Capuchino. Keith Thomas, a 5'9", 175-pound junior, picks up about 10. 2nd and 5. They actually stopped the clock with 1:17 left, and looks like we got some kind of fireworks going off over here. What was that? What was that, Brian?
I'm hoping it's fireworks. I don't see anything going up in the sky.
Yeah, it was a loud boom. So they start the clock back up. We may see this play and maybe one more. Capuchino isn't going into victory formation. They're putting in a new quarterback. It's Fafita. And Fafita is just going to tuck and run on the quarterback draw, and he's getting close to the goal line, and he's going to be spotted just shy at about the 2-yard line. So Cap's got 47. They want to top the 50 mark.
Rivalry game. They're trying to stick it until next year. But I guarantee you Coach Krieger is going to be reminding those sophomores and juniors all year about what happened here.
First 8 games of this rivalry started back in 1956. Capuchino won the first 8. You have to go to 1964 when Mills won their first, and they won 3 in a row, 64, 65, and 66. We're going way back.
Way back.
Why not? 10 seconds left, and now they're not going to run a play. That shows a little bit of class there. And this clock is going to wind down, and Capuchino wins the Lake Division Championship outright, going 5-0.
Yeah, it's a great job for this program. They've come a long ways over the last couple years with the coaching changes. They got somebody who's in seat, who's now 9-1 in Lake Division play, heading to a CCS playoff atmosphere where they haven't been in a few years. So this is going to be fun to kind of watch where this goes.
Capuchino finishes their regular season with an overall record of 6-4. Once again, 5-0 in the Lake. For Mills, they end up 0-5 again for the second year in a row, 3-7 overall.
You know, you can't look at this as a bad year because this was one of the few bad games that Mills played. You know, you look back the whole season, I think they can hold their heads up high, knowing they competed and gave it a lot, and this is going to be nothing but good things for the future for this program.
If you enjoyed watching this program or any other programs on MCTV, consider becoming an MCTV underwriter. It's a great way to get your name on local television and to support the Millbrae community. Of course, your support is crucial in helping MCTV to produce quality programming with a local focus. For info on underwriting opportunities or to sign up for an underwriting package, contact MCTV at 259-2343 or send an email to info@mctv.tv. And we do have DVDs and Blu-ray copies of today's game for sale. Just go to mctv.tv/buy and look for the DVD cover on our Square store. You could give us a call at 259-2343 and we'll take your order over the phone. A couple scores finally to update you on before we sign off here from this rivalry Friday night. Hillsdale is beating Aragon 45-15, and it looks like Terra Nova has taken the lead and is leading Half Moon Bay 24-14 in the fourth quarter. So some exciting scores around the league. There'll be more games tomorrow. And Brian, as we wrap this up, your final thoughts on this rivalry tonight and this kind of atmosphere for high school football.
I don't think you could have asked for a better atmosphere. I mean, we had fireworks going off. We had cell phone lights going around in the bleachers. It's what Friday night in America is all about. High school football, enjoying it, enjoying the times and the things that we see. This is a great rivalry that will continue for years, and both these programs are going to be fun programs to watch. So I'm excited.
Capuchino wins the 2015 version of this rivalry. The Battle of the Strip goes to San Bruno. 47-7 the final. For Brian Powers and everybody here on our MCTV sports crew, Andy Pittman, Jeff McGinnis, and Andy, our cameraman, also Mark Kelly. We thank you all for watching, and we'll see you here on MCTV Sports. Good night, everybody.